Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Come on in. Letting people in out of the waiting room. Can you guys hear me? Give me a big thumbs up if you can hear me. There we go. So now I know when I say this, you all hear me, which is if you are appropriately dressed and not operating a motor vehicle, please turn your camera on. Right, Aziz? Fred Haravi, don't get up. I'm going to do all the work. You stay in bed. Fred just turned his camera off. He was laying in bed. That's cool. Don't get up, Fred. We're going to make this happen.
I just want to say, Dale, you look way better in like comfortable clothes than you do in a suit. I just started your online coaching thing and seeing you in a suit. It's pretty funny.
Listen, man, you know, we all put on airs at some point. I've grown in my career now to the point where I DGAF sometimes. And I'm just like, I'm going to show up and do it. Yeah, I'm not gonna spell out those the acronym for you guys, but I'm sure you can figure it out yourself. Sheldon, I think you sent a message to yourself inside our training course. Was that? I got that message.
Oh, I didn't know what it was. I was just trying. I thought it was a message to myself for the future.
I sent it to my support. I sent it to my support team, and I'm like, support team, what is this? They go, I think he's just talking to himself in this message.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was sent myself a positive. I found it last night, and I was like, because I know I think it wasn't clear as to like the structure of the course, and then I was like, yesterday I was feeling like, hey, something's missing here. I feel like the 10 classes a day are like they're very group session, and I was like, something's missing. So I dug deep last night, and I was like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah, that's
actual training. So because you reference it all the time, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
So if anybody needs to know what Sheldon's talking about, hit him up out of here. It's basically our training course called Conversion University, and he's doing live training with us. But I'm here today to do some real training with you guys. And near the end, I'll drop a link where you can see the same thing that Sheldon's going through. Right now, it's called spring training. Otto, how are you, man? We have 405 people registered for this webinar today.
Wow.
I want to know how we're going to role play with 405 people. You all know that this is a live role play, right? You guys know that? Penny, Toronto, you have to role play today. Yep, you.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to, and I'm so glad that more people are registering, because I'm like, this dude is an Inman speaker. We get the opportunity to have somebody who speaks at huge conferences, and then we get like, you know, we don't have enough people registered, and I'm blown away by it. So it's like we need more content. It's like we're not doing a good enough job to get the word out there, so we can actually get more people into these events. So I'm looking forward to just getting as many people to see the value of this. And you know, I posted today on my Facebook page. I said, he's like the guy that has ChatGPT built into his brain, so he knows what to say and the words that come out of his mouth. So looking forward to it, man.
Well, you nearly broke my Zoom with all the registrations, so that's fantastic. I'm excited, everybody. I'm gonna go live into Agent Locator over here. Hopefully it's gonna work. Well, we'll post the replay. I don't know if I have admin yet on the group, but it doesn't look like it's allowing me to go live. So we're going to go ahead and conduct it here. This is being recorded, and then we can just post it live into the group. Otto, you don't have your button on the admin or the ability to make me an admin at the moment, do you? Otto froze. His internet went down. Uh-oh. That's a shame. Okay, well, how about this? We're going to get to it. If he comes back and says that we have the ability to go live, we will do that. So people are still coming in from the waiting room. Today's subject is the question game, everybody. And we're actually going to be playing the question game. This is one of the teaching tools that we developed at my company. The purpose of the question game is to help teach agents, salespeople, how to figure out which question to ask, because there's a myriad of all sorts of questions that you could ask. And actually, let me put it this way. It first is helping to reinforce the fact that 9 times out of 10, in the face of any objection, you should be asking a question. That's what you should be doing, right? But a lot of salespeople will object back, right? They will argue with the lead, or they will interject, or they will try to educate, or they will disagree. That's not a good thing to do in most situations. Most situations, that's not the right thing to do. Most situations is you want to approach an objection with a question. Now, That's some basic sales training, right? The problem is they don't always teach you how to figure out which question to ask in any given situation. And scripts don't always serve you, right? So you can't script out everything. What we want to do is we want to teach salespeople how to quickly identify or quickly know and have ingrained what question should I ask in this moment. So for instance, and we'll get to this, like if I were to say, you know, one of the objections that really trips agents up, and we'll work on it today, is I'm not ready to work with an agent, or I want to talk to the listing agent, right? Those are real triggering objections. And I just said them right now. And I'm sure that most of you are like, yeah, I don't like those objections, right? Because you don't know what to do with it. You don't know what to do in the moment. And so we're going to play the question game today. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be reading objections, and you guys are going to formulate great questions. And I'm going to tell you how to formulate those questions. This is recorded, Suzette. Yes. Jaden, why don't you run the chat? That way you can answer the easy questions that we know we can answer. It is being recorded. I was going to try to push it live into the Facebook group also, but it looks like I'm not an admin, still not an admin. So what we'll do is I want to give you the rules of the question game, okay? And by the way, let me say this before I get into giving you the rules of the question game. I'm going to be role playing with people today. This is a highly interactive webinar, okay? Now, some of you think you're amazing, and you probably are. Some of you think you're amazing, and I still need to help you. And some of you are nearly about to wet your pants because you don't want to be called on to role play. Okay? So those of you who are nearly going to wet your pants over being called on, raise your hand now so I make sure I'm not calling you. Oh, you're all too clever for me, aren't you? Nobody raised their damn hand. Or you all want to role play. I guess that's what it means, right? Everybody wants to role play today. So here's what we're going to do. Go down to the bottom. There's a little button that says reactions, has a smiley face on it. Jen Bass already raised her hand. If you want to role play today, raise your hand and just keep it up, okay? Because those are the ones that I'll go around and call on. And as we start doing this and you start to get the hang of it, if you get the courage to be called on, then let's go for it, okay? Raise your hand. We'll add you to the list, and we'll let you roll through these and ask your questions, or let you role play. And here's what I would say too. If you are afraid of role playing, please raise your hand. I will take care of you. And believe me, if you can role play in here in front of hundreds of your closest strangers, it's going to make you a beast when you actually have these conversations with real live leads that are going to pay you thousands of dollars to help them, okay? If only you can overcome their objections. All right. Yep, your mic doesn't work. That sucks. It's okay. It's being recorded though. All right, good. We got a bunch of people that are raising their hands to role play, so that's great. Let me lay out the rules of the question game. The purpose of the question game is to get to the core of what someone's objection is, essentially to figure out why are they saying this to me, right? Why do they think that? Or what ultimately does it mean for them, or what are they going to get out of it? That's really what you're trying to get down to. And when we say asking a question into the face of an objection, I'm also going to be discerning whether or not you're asking a direct question or an indirect question. You are only allowed to ask direct questions that go to the core of the objection. Let me explain to you what an indirect and versus a direct question are. Let's say that I said, hey, Penny, I sell green apples. I'd love to sell you some green apples. And Penny says, no, Dale, I don't want to buy your green apples, right? A direct question would be, Penny, what don't you like about green apples? Or Penny, what causes you not to want to buy my green apples? Okay. Or Penny, how did you decide not to buy my green apples? That's direct questioning. Indirect questioning would be, oh, got it, Penny. What kind of apples do you like? Do you like bananas and mangoes too? Or prefer mangoes or bananas over apples? Right? Those are indirect questions. The reason that they're indirect is because they don't help me ultimately understand or get straight to the core as to why Penny isn't going to buy my green apples. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Now, it may tell me what other kind of fruits she likes, or it may tell me what kind of color of apple she likes, but I don't care because I only sell green apples. And I want to know, why aren't you going to buy my green apples? Now, how many of you listening out there were like, Dale, why don't you just ask her, why aren't you going to buy my green apples? Okay. Let me ask you something, everybody. How many times in your life did another human being start out something with the word why that was good for you? Ever? Never. It's confrontational. Why did you do that? Why are you going to do that? Why aren't you going to do that? Right? So we're just going to omit the word why. If you listen back to what I did, none of the questions that I asked Penny started with the word why. Okay? So you can't start with the word why. It has to be direct and not indirect. And I can't make her wrong. Let me give you an example. Penny, do you want to buy my green apples? No, I don't want to buy your green apples. Why wouldn't you want to buy green apples? Right? I just made her wrong and I was confrontational. Can't do that.
Bianca, stop.
Yes, Bianca. We're having a coaching session here, Bianca.
Sorry. I thought I was muted.
You are not. Jaden, that's you, buddy. All right, Jaden, we're good. There we go. Jaden finally got to it. You gotta be quick on the button, dude. Bianca is barking in the background. All right, so you guys all got that, right? I'm gonna read an objection. You need to ask a direct question into it, not an indirect one. You can't make me wrong, and you can't use the word why. Doesn't this sound like fun, everybody? Okay. Now, I usually started off with a harder one, but my trainers have switched the order of the questions around. So I'm going to try doing it their way and see if I like it. All right. So I got my little hands up over here. Jeff White. You understand the rules of the game?
I believe so.
You believe so. That's a great hedge of an answer. I really appreciate it. All right. So,
Not sure I'm going to be able to execute it, but let's see what happens.
All right. Sounds good. You know, I do love playing a game where I set up all the rules. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
All right, Jeff. You know, Jeff, I'm not buying until next year.
Okay, so can't use the word why, can't use an indirect question. Okay, Dale, you're not buying until next, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, Dale, so you're not going to buy next year. Can you tell me more about that?
I would say that that's a cheap question.
Okay.
Here's another rule, everybody. You can't use tell me more about that. That's a cheater. Okay. I want you to make good questions. If you're ever at a loss for what to do and you have no idea what to do, go for tell me more about that. But you guys are all ninja assassins. So we're going to teach you how to know what to do at all times. Okay. Jeff, let's put it this way. Think about it this. If you could use any words you wanted to, and I say, I'm not going to buy until next year, what do you want to know?
Well, I want to know why, but obviously I can't ask that. So what's preventing you?
Why? You want to know why? Finish the sentence.
I want to know why they're waiting till next year to buy.
Why we're not buying until next year. Now, take that question because that's what you want to know. That's the most direct question you could possibly ask. And just get rid of the word why. And I'll read the objection to you again. You know what, Jeff? We're not going to be buying until next year.
Okay. Thanks, Dale. You're not going to be buying till next year. I'd like to understand what it is about next year that makes buying the perfect time for you.
Oh my God, everybody. We've just leveled up Jeff's skills. Boom. Jeff, you can send the check to my mailbox, okay?
Right.
Good job. How simple was that, everybody? Right? He basically took the question and got rid of the word why and restated it. Okay. Elijah. Am I pronouncing that?
I'm finding my unmute. Jay is silent, but Elijah is my English version of Alia.
Alia, thank you. I know that I've spoken to you before and you corrected me before. It might take a few more time. It might take a few more times. All right. Alia, we're not buying until next year.
Okay, you're not buying until next year. How come it has to be next year? Is there anything that we could present to you that it could possibly change that?
Okay, stop. Now, everybody, Alia asked me a question, but then tried to close me. Okay? Is there anything we could do to change that? That's a close. Tell me what I could do to put you in this car today. Right? That's what you just did. Okay, get rid of that. No closes. No closes. And I want to tell you guys this. Never close until you're ready to close. Never close until it is the logical conclusion to the conversation you just had with someone. Now, listen back to the conversation. Ali, I'm not going to buy till next year. Oh, Dale, how do I get you to buy sooner? Is that a logical close? Is that close logical and or the logical conclusion to the conversation I just had with
Not
you?
at all.
Not at all.
I think what Jeff did was amazing. I
Yes.
wish I could get that
Well, that's-
flow.
Dude, you're not here because you know exactly what to do. You're here to let me train you, right? Everybody? If you all knew what to do, you shouldn't be here. And I would be out of a job, frankly. Okay, good. So you're in the right place, Elliot. All right, Elliot, let's do it one more time, okay?
Okay.
It's pure question, no leading, no closing. You just want to understand me. Basically, you want to understand why aren't you buying now, right? Or why are you buying next year? Alia, we're not buying until next year.
Okay, Dale, you're not buying until next year.
Mhm.
Is there anything you could tell me about why you're not buying until next year?
Okay, that's a good try, but everybody who just listened to what Alia said, what does he want me to do? It's not rocket
Tell me
science.
more. Yeah, I asked basically
No.
what you told Jeff not to do.
Everybody, this is a salesperson. And salespeople want to sell us stuff. Based on the words Alia used, what does he want me to do?
Buy.
Wants me to buy now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Alia, can you ask me a question that just understands me without blatantly showing me that you want to change my mind and make me buy now?
I'm having trouble with that.
I know, that's why we keep working on you, buddy. I'm gonna do one more round with you because it's changing things for you, and that's my whole purpose here. All right, so Alia, we're gonna do it one more time. Understand me, don't try to change my mind. Don't reveal to me what your wishes are. Just understand me, okay? Alia, I'm not going to be buying until next year.
Okay, Dale. I understand you're not going to be buying until next year. You see, that's where I get stuck.
What do you want to know? Just say
I want
the
to know
answer.
why you're not buying until next year.
Why you're not buying till next year? Just ask that damn question, but you have to change the word why, okay?
How
Alia,
come you're not buying until next year?
how come you're not buying until next year? Okay, good enough. We're going to let it go. Now you're direct. That's a direct question, okay?
Yeah.
But does it sound like you think it's the best idea I could
No,
possibly?
it doesn't sound good to me.
You're right. So one more time, everybody. I'm going to do it one more time. All right, Alia, you're good. You're direct, but you got to make it sound like I have a great idea. You just don't understand how. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sort of. I do. I'm at a loss for words.
You just use some beautiful words, right? How come you're not buying till next year? Now, let's do it in a way where it doesn't sound like you disagree with me.
Can
Okay.
you tell me a little bit about what makes it important for you to wait until next year to make that purchase?
Okay, better. There we go. It's still a little bit not quite agreeing with me, but we're getting closer. We're working on it. We're improving your skill. All right. Amrit Paul, I'm not buying until next year.
Hi, Dale. Thank you for taking the time to see me and really understand that you're not looking until next year. But do you think there would be better opportunities, or is it because of a job or kids' schooling that will make you wait till next year?
Now, what Amrit Paul just did, everybody, is instead of asking a direct question that allowed for any possibility, he named a few possibilities. Is there an infinite world of possibilities that it could be? Yes, right? What are the chances that Amrit Paul is picking the right ones? So Amrit, you went too tight. I want you to bring it back up from tight. Don't pick a reason. Just understand me, okay? Think about it this way. Why are you not buying until next year? Just change the first word, okay? Amrit Paul, I'm not buying until next year.
Would you think there's better opportunities next year?
All right, you picked a reason. Right?
Okay,
Amrit Paul, I'm
okay.
not buying until next year.
Do you know when you may buy?
No,
Do-
that was somebody else. Go for it if you have a question. Amrit Paul. All right, wait for it. We're going to get to it. Penny, I'm not buying until next year.
I feel like a cheater because I would be along the same lines of what Jeff said, and I would say, that's fantastic. Sounds like you've put a lot of thought into it. What makes next year the right time for you to buy?
Oh my God, that's a great question. What makes next year a great time for you to buy? That's an awesome question. Right? She doesn't disagree with me. Goes straight to the core of it. Doesn't make me wrong. Fantastic question. Did you guys hear it? You hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? There we go. It supports me. I like to say this. We salespeople are like the big bad wolf in grandma's nightgown. Okay? We gotta not whip off that nightgown for as long as we possibly can. And if you present yourself in a way that wants to change my mind or argue with me, right, or try to close me, you just took the nightgown off, and now I know you're the big bad wolf, right?
Yeah.
Penny's question was fantastic. She kept the nightgown on, man. What
Are
about
we
next
trying
year?
to move?
Perfect time to buy. Sorry, Dave, hold on. What about next year makes it the perfect time to buy? That's a fantastic supportive question that hides the fact that you're a salesperson. Dave Holt, what were you saying?
Is our objective to try and move that individual to today's time frame, or do we accept that they are planning to do something next year? So let's find that sounds like it's an opportunity. So let's try and zoom in on when next year they may be looking at purchasing, since they've offered that up to us already.
Dave, the overarching principle about objection handling is you first understand before you overcome. Understand before you overcome, okay? You have to understand why they're saying what they're saying, why they have that position, how they came about that information, or what they're going to get out of it before you can try to change their process and get them to do something in a different way, at a different time, with a different person, under different circumstances, okay? That's the point, everybody. We're going to see the whole purpose of the question game is to understand them first. Got it? And to do it quickly. Because especially if you're on the phone with somebody who's saying to you, I'm not going to buy, you don't have 10 minutes to bullshit with them all about why they're not buying, especially if they don't want to be on the phone with you. You kind of need to get to that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Aziz. Dave, let's have you muted
Okay.
until
Yeah,
actually playing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Aziz, I'm not buying until next year.
Oh, okay, Dale, I understand you don't want to buy anything till next year, but do you mind explaining to me what happened to this year? What makes this year not the best time to buy for you?
What makes this year not
This
the
year
best
not a
time?
good time, not a good time for you to buy.
All right, you went on the negative. I'd rather you go on the positive. Listen to the difference. What makes this year not a good time to buy is negative. What makes next year a great time to buy is positive. You hear the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Because your nightgown is slipping, buddy. When you say what makes this year not a good time to buy, your nightgown is falling off. Because in that, you're saying, why won't you buy now? Do you understand?
Okay.
Do you understand what I say when I say your nightgown slipping? I'm saying your salesperson is showing. Your salesperson is showing is what's happening.
Okay. I was just trying to see if, instead of asking them why they're making that decision next year. I was thinking, can I know why they don't want to make the decision this year? Is there anything they're saying that I don't understand that I would like to know, if they don't mind, of what is happening this year that make them to think next year is the best time?
Right. But here's what I'm saying to you. Well, given, I don't know what language do you typically do business in? Do you do business with English speakers? Do you do business with people who speak?
I think more of English speakers, and even people from my country, they still speak English. I live in Canada, by the way, so
right.
I talk with people that speak English.
Okay.
When I asked that question, actually,
when I asked that question, what I meant was, you know, a lot of other, especially in Canada, there's a lot of communities of people that speak the same language and they do business together. So here's what I'll tell you. Being that you are not a native English speaker, it's not your first language, I can tell. It's not your first language. So you can get away with some of the stuff that I'm saying not to do. But if you want to take it to the next level, then I'm giving you advice that especially a English as a first language person would want to follow. And when I ask you something like, think about it this way, Aziz, pretend that you're the lead, that you're a consumer. Let's put it into cars. Let's do cars. I'm a car salesman, Aziz. Okay.
Okay.
You just walked onto my car lot, but you're not intending to buy. You just want to look around. You say, oh, Dale, I'm not going to be buying a car until next year. And I say, Aziz, why wouldn't you buy a car now? What do I want to do to you, Aziz?
I want to sell the car to me.
I want to sell your car today, right? If I say, oh, cool, Aziz, what's important about buying a car next year? I'm hiding. I'm not so blatant about buy a car now, right? It feels easier to talk to me.
Exactly.
Do you get the difference?
I got it.
Okay. Now I'm still going to try to sell you a car today. Don't have any mistakes about that. I'm just not going to reveal that I want to sell you a car today so blatantly until I'm ready to do it. Okay, good. All right. Sherry. Hello, Sherry. Sherry, I'm not buying until next year.
Hold on, I unmute myself. Oh, I understand. You don't want to buy until next year. So what makes you decide to buy next year?
What makes you decide to buy next year? Okay, good. Now let's make it a little more positive. What makes you decide to buy next year? Doesn't sound like you think that's a good idea. Sherry, I'm not buying until next year.
Okay, you're not buying until next year. What is that? You have to wait until next year?
All right. Bob Torin, I'll come back to you and I'm going to give one more principle and then we're going to move on to some other objections, okay? Or actually, let's do Bob and Stephanie. Bob Torin, I'm not buying until next year.
I like that earlier answer, which was, it sounds like you put a lot of thought into this already. And I want to understand the good things about next year for buying a home.
Okay, good. Paul Rockwell. I'm not buying until next year.
Okay, great to know. What is happening next year that makes it a great time for you to buy?
Good job, Paul. Stephanie, I'm not buying until next year. Stephanie Noss.
What's important about next year?
Great, fantastic. And I would also throw in the word buying, okay? Because I said I'm not going to buy a home until next year. What's important about buying next year? And the only reason, it's just a small tweak, but you make sure that you put my words into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. John McEwen.
Yep, that's right.
I'm not buying until next year.
Oh, how come? Is there something that has to happen between now and then?
Nope, that doesn't sound like you think it's a good idea, sir.
No, okay.
Nope. Everybody agree? Panel agree? John McEwen does not agree with me buying next year or waiting? Yep. All right, John, you gotta like put it on the back burner, bro. Not what you want, it's what I want. And everybody that I'm talking to, I want you in your mind to be like, wow, that's an amazing idea. I just don't understand. Can you explain it to me? Right? Let me on your beautiful secret about why next year makes the most sense. Okay. John, I'm not buying until next year.
Okay, what makes next year great for you?
Yes, beautiful. Good job, sir. Okay. Are you guys good? Do Greg and Craig and Emmanuel want to do it too, or can I move on and make another one? Craig, I'm not buying till next year.
I get that. Yeah, I'll say I get that. Is it the market?
Greg, I don't know if you were listening this whole time. What did you just do? Is it the market?
Well, then they would say something so I could talk more.
Nope. This is the question game. This isn't a microcosm, and you have to ask a good direct question to elicit the answer you need. Okay. Is it the market is picking one option out of all the options that it could be for why I said that, right? Okay. So you get one question to understand me, Greg. One. Greg, I'm not buying till next year.
What's your concern about waiting till next year?
Thank you for that example, Greg, and I'm going to talk about it. Craig Johnston, I'm not buying until next year.
I love it. What's happening next year that makes you want to buy?
Beautiful. Now, everybody, what's the difference between what Craig just did and what Greg did?
That positive reinforcement.
Yes. Greg used the word waiting till next year, spun it negatively, right? What has you waiting until next year? Greg whipped off the nightgown. Craig kept the nightgown on and was supportive and positive. Okay. And Greg, I appreciate you demonstrating that because it allows me to talk about it in front of other people. So don't be embarrassed. Okay. So everybody, we're all salespeople, right? You all know your salespeople. If you're a salesperson, raise your hand. I'm a salesperson. I'm a professional salesperson. There's nothing wrong with it. The only problem is that we're the only people that think there's nothing wrong with being a salesperson. Okay. Every other consumer does not want to talk to us. Let me ask you this. You guys are consumers in your regular lives. When's the last time you just sauntered on down to the car lot to hang out with the car sales boys and girls, right? Just to shoot the shit with them. When did that ever happen? Never, right? Because they're going to try to sell you something, right? That's all they're good for. That's what they're there for. Guess what? Unfortunately, all of you life counselors and guides to real estate, whatever you fancy yourself, the general public regards us as salespeople, and they generally don't want to talk to us until they're ready for us, until they think they're ready for us, right? So when you use words, when you make what they've said to you or what their plans are negative, when you use words like waiting, right? How did you come to that decision? Or what has you waiting? Or why wouldn't you blah, blah, blah? It shows them that all we're trying to do is change their decision. It shows them that we're trying to sell them something versus staying on the side like Craig Johnston did, Stephanie did, and John McEwen did eventually, right? Penny did initially. Staying on the side of, hey, just let me understand you is a much better place to be and hides that salesman stuff. Okay, good. So I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, Jeff White. We decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Okay, that's great, Dale. I can understand why you, no, I don't want to say that.
Do not want to say that.
No, that's great, Dale. Renting for another year, what makes that the perfect choice for you?
Good job. Now, here's one more piece of advice. Use a few more of my words. You said, what makes that a perfect decision for you? Okay. So here's my advice. If I said, for instance, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now, I would say, oh, got it. What makes renting for another year the perfect decision for you? I just used a few more of my actual words, the leads words.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So I misunderstood when you said my words. I thought you were talking about Dale Archdekin words, and you're talking about the leads words.
The leads words. Yeah. Sorry. The leads words. Using a few more of the leads words in what you do. So let's do it one more time. Jeff. Yeah, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Okay, got it. You want to rent for another year. So what makes that the perfect choice for you, renting for another year?
Good job. You got it in there. Excellent.
Not very smooth, but I understand what I have to do.
You did get it in there. And listen, the more that you do this, guys, the more that you focus on what you're saying, why you're saying it, and how you're saying it, you will be able to get that stuff in there. Let's go to Paul Rockwell because he looks like he's bored. Paul, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Good to know. What makes renting for another year work better for you?
Great job, Paul. Alia, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Great. You decided to wait until next year I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's okay. We'll do it again. You know what, Alia, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Okay, Dale, I understand you decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now. what makes next year better and why? There you go again.
It's okay. Here's what I would also do, guys. I want to suggest that you stop repeating back to me my objection.
Okay.
Okay. I know that most of you are using it as a moment to think, but don't do it. Try practicing not doing it because it kind of wastes time. And I want to force you to practice going to your question. Okay. Now, Alia, basically what you want to know is why are you renting for another year, or how did you decide to rent for another year? Okay. That's what you want to know. Okay. So now you don't have to really think about it. And I'm going to read my objection to you again. Alia, you know what? We decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Okay, what makes renting for another year the perfect decision for you?
There we go, everybody. And the skies open up. I've earned my money. Otto, there we go. And I'm done. Mic drop. No, I'm super happy, dude. You got it. Good job. Excellent. Craig Johnston, you know what? We decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
What makes renting instead of buying the best for you this year?
What does he want me to, what were the words he shouldn't have put in there?
This year.
Instead of buying.
Okay.
What makes renting instead of buying? You said instead of buying. That was a tell. That was the
versus.
Your salesperson showing, bro.
I love it. Okay, thank you.
Let's do it one more time. Craig, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
I understand that. Please let me know what your thoughts are about waiting the year.
I don't know. I said Craig. Hold on, Greg.
Oh.
Craig, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
What makes renting the best decision for you this year?
Okay. All right. We're good. We're doing good, Craig. And then I think for you, we'd probably start to do a little bit of improv, where you raise your energy and you get happy, right? And you do lion face, lemon face, a little acting class, because you understand how to ask the questions. Greg Ringer, let's go back to you, okay?
Yes.
All right, Greg Ringer, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
I get that. What are your thoughts about waiting for the year?
Okay, now is waiting ever a good word to use?
No, that wasn't good.
Yeah, is
Okay.
waiting ever a good thing, everybody? No, nobody
No,
wants to wait for anything.
no.
Good, okay. Let's do it again.
I understand that. Let me know. Sorry.
Here's what I would also do, Greg. I would get rid of I understand that if
Yeah.
you're about to ask a question that says, help me understand that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
You can, if you feel like verbally you need some kind of preface in there for your style, you could say, I hear that, instead of I understand that.
I understand. What makes that work better for you?
What makes that work better for you? Use my words. I said, I'm going to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now. And you're going to ask me.
Wonderful. It's difficult, even though I've done this forever.
This is the work, man.
Please let me know your thoughts on waiting for the year.
All right, Greg, I can see that we have our work cut out for us with you, and that's okay. That's how we earn our living. We are going to help you.
This is what I get for putting my hand up. Sure.
Yes. And wait, Greg, you're doing way better than all these other people that aren't role playing with me that don't have their hands up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Stephanie Noss, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Okay, no problem. What's important about renting for another year?
Did you hear that, Greg Ringer?
That's good.
That's a fantastic question. And actually, I think you could do some acting, Stephanie. You seem too pensive and serious. So you and I are having Bellinis, right? And you're super excited because me renting for another year is the best thing you've ever heard. Now, Stephanie, I decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Oh, great. What's important about renting for another year?
Look at that. Isn't that great, everybody? That sounds fantastic. Good job.
It's all about validation, isn't it?
Definitely about validation, Dave. I'm going to mute you. Dave, do you want to do it? Dave Holt, I'm going to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
That's wonderful. Why is renting important for you?
Uh-oh, everybody. What did he do wrong?
I put the Y word in.
Why? Yep.
Yes.
Everything else was great. Just get rid of the word why. Dave Holt, I'm going to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Did you
No,
bail?
and yeah, damn it.
Didn't hear you at the end.
You're full.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Aziz. We're going to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. What makes renting for another year a very good decision for you?
Okay, good, sir. I like it. Emmanuel Lopez. Aren't you in, Emmanuel, don't you? I've seen you before. We've talked before.
We've met, yeah, definitely.
Yes. All right, Emmanuel. I'm going to rent for another year instead of, we decided to rent for another year instead of purchasing right now.
I love it, Dale. A lot of people are waiting for you. What's important about renting for another year?
A lot of people what?
Are waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people are waiting. I don't like the reinforcement directly into the objection, sir.
Okay. Could I say good, Dale? Okay, so what's important about renting for another year?
Yes, beautiful. I like it. Okay, it's neutral and supportive. The reason I don't like the reinforcement of the objection is because I don't want to have you further ingrained as to that idea. Ultimately, our goal when we're talking to somebody in an objection is just to simply understand them. When they object to us, what they are saying is not under, these circumstances, not at this time, not with this person, not, under whatever else, right? And so what really is going on is they're saying, I will do it under these circumstances or at this specific time or with this person or with this certain set of criteria because I believe it's going to get me something or some things, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we remain neutral, what we're doing is we're figuring out what's that set of criteria or people or whatever it is that what are the outcomes that you think you're getting to? What are you gaining or avoiding by your process, your approach? And I want to understand it first. So then I can say, oh, got it. If that's what you're trying to get to, well, maybe we can also get there if we do it like this or with this person or at this time or under these circumstances. But you have to understand them clearly first. And I don't also want to reinforce their objection because ultimately I want to see if I can find a mutually agreeable or beneficial resolution, right? That ideally is now with me for this price, right? Okay, cool. Let's go on to one more objection. And this is the one I love the most. All right, are you guys ready? You ready?
No.
No.
All right. Penny Toronto, since we started with you and you did so well. I'm not ready to work with an agent, Penny. This is a tough one.
This is a tough one. Fantastic. That's great. What makes it about this time that you're not ready to make a decision about an agent?
All right, definitely convoluted. Let's do it again. Yeah. You know what, Penny? I'm not ready to work with an agent.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think saying when would you be ready is a bit puts them on the offensive.
Ooh. When would you? No, I like when would you be ready to work with an agent? I think that's a good one.
So what under what circumstances would you be ready to work with an agent?
Great. I like the question.
I had to think. I had to get those juices flowing.
You had to think. Excellent. Paul Rockwell's been killing it. Paul, have you been trained by us or taken any of our training before? Or are you just a savant?
No, definitely didn't do any training. Just make a lot of phone calls and make a lot of notes.
Beautiful. All right. Paul, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
Yeah, I just want to know when you'd be looking to start working with an agent or start looking more seriously.
Very similar to Penny's question. Stephanie Noss, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
I'm on mute. I'm not ready to work. Oh, sorry, I just need to think. I lost my train of thought and panicked. Would you be open to seeing what working with an agent, hold on, rewind.
Sure.
Okay. Am I on the right track or no?
Nope, that's a close.
Okay.
You were closing me.
Okay. Fail, pass.
All right. And you guys will get this. We're not leaving this webinar until you guys all know what to do into the face of this one. Syed, I'm not ready to work with an agent. You have to unmute yourself. It was beautiful. It was the secret to life, but we couldn't hear it.
Okay, yeah, hope you can hear me now.
Yes. I'm not ready to work with an agent.
Okay, is there any specific time that you are looking for?
So use my words. You asked basically the same question that Penny and Paul did, but use my words. You said, is there any specific time you're looking for? What you meant was, when do you think you'll be ready to work with an agent, right?
Yeah, exactly, yes.
That's what you meant, but you didn't use my words. Penny and Paul used my words, right? Essentially, when would you be ready to work with an agent? Okay.
I might have
okay.
one.
All right, I'll come back to you, Stephanie. Syed, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
So when do you think that you'll be ready to work with an agent?
Beautiful, masterful. Stephanie, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
Do you have an agent you're going to work with when you are ready to work with an agent?
Okay, now that's an indirect question. Does that help you understand why I'm not ready to work with an agent? Would the answer to that help you understand why I'm not ready to work with an agent?
No, would not.
No, would not. That's why it's indirect. This is actually like one of the first indirect questions we've had here.
Yeah, it's hard. This is a hard one.
It's hard. That's what I'm here to do. Here to teach you guys the hard stuff. Hassan, unmute yourself. What is this? I'm surprised. Was there any untoward incident that made you make that decision? All right, buddy, you got to unmute yourself. We got to help you with this one. Hassan, unmute yourself. Oh, he's looking for the mute button. We'll come back to you. Oh, there it is.
Sorry. Can you address the one before that too? Because I think that should be addressed too, if you don't mind.
About how Stephanie's was indirect?
Well, no, not ready to work with an agent, but totally understand when do you see yourself checking out visiting properties? I mean, that's.
Oh, I didn't even see that. See that chat. Who chatted that one?
Jason Schott.
Jason Schott, not ready to work with an agent. Totally understandable. When do you see yourself checking out some properties by visiting them? That's a close. That's a close, Jason. You asked me when I was going to go look at properties, right? It's kind of a hidden close, but it's in there. Where's Hassan? Hassan, give us your response. Hassan, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
My response I wrote here, but let me tell you, I'm surprised. Was there any untoward incident that you decided not to work with an agent?
Okay, now you chose one possible reason for why I said I'm not ready to work with an agent, correct?
Right.
There could be many reasons why I'm not ready to work with an agent.
Once you answer to this question, then maybe I will open the Pandora box.
So my point here and the point of the game, Hassan, is that your most efficient question asking is not to pick or try to guess the solution. Your most efficient question asking is to make the question as direct and open to all possibilities as possible so that the person reveals their thoughts or motivations to you, okay?
Okay.
And when you say, basically you said, was there an incident that made you make that decision? You're choosing one particular solution.
I tried to object it to one on. You are right.
Okay, got it. Let's see if you can ask an open question, Hassan. Hassan, I'm not ready to work with an agent.
I'm surprised. Should there be any reason not to?
All right, everybody. Hassan whipped off the nightgown and said, I'm going to argue with you. Why would there be any reason you wouldn't work with an agent, right? You should work. How do I put you in this car today? Right, Hassan?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is not what we're doing here. Okay, so we're running out of time, everybody. And I just want to cover a couple of things with you. So I'm not ready to work with an agent. How did you decide, or what about working with an agent aren't you ready for? Right? There's a good one. Okay. I'm not ready to work with an agent. One of them that you got was, when will you be ready to work with an agent? Now, Go ahead.
I can turn the video on, Dale. My name is Anu. I was thinking, I've written it down. The question, I don't know if it's a close-ended or open-ended, but tell me more about it. What makes you think of that? Is that a bad question?
Tell me more about it is a lazy question.
Okay.
Tell me more about it is, I don't have enough sales training to know a good question to ask and get to the core of your objection. So I'm just going to go with tell me more about it and let you do the work lead. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when in doubt, you have no idea what the hell to do, go with tell me more about it. Okay. But I'm here to teach you guys better than that. And I'm teaching you how to figure out questions. All right, good. Now I want to explain something. First, Jaden is going to drop the link to our spring training in here. It's a 12-week intensive. You can come in, be trained by our trainers. Monday through Friday, we have classes for you, and a once-a-week intensive for accountability and training in a small group of people, where we're going to be teaching you stuff like this and really improving your skills. Now, he's going to drop that link, but I want to explain this thing to you. I have one more question. Somebody says, I'm not ready to work with an agent. This is a concept that unfortunately we can spend a lot more time on, and I'm just jamming it in here at the end, but it's something I want you to understand.
Hi, this is Gary with MacBooks.com.
Let me
show you 10 iMovie tricks you can use to video.
Whoever that is, mute yourself. I want to ask you guys something. When somebody says, I'm not ready to work with an agent, when they say work with an agent, what do they mean? Jeff White, when somebody says work with an agent, what do they mean?
I would read that as I don't want to commit to anybody right now.
Penny, when they say I don't want to work, when they say work with an agent, what do they mean?
They mean they don't want to be bothered by, they don't want to be solicited too much.
Aziz, when somebody says work with an agent, what do they mean?
I just think they don't want to get involved in, with any agent right now, or they're worried.
Craig Johnston, when somebody says work with an agent, what do they mean?
They're just nervous and don't want to talk to you.
Paul Rockwell, when they say work with an agent, what do they mean?
They're just not ready to buy right now.
How many different answers did we just hear, all you people?
God.
How many
About
different
3.
answers? Huh?
I think about 3 different answers, just using different tone. Some of them mean
bunch.
the same thing.
We heard different answers, and if I keep going, we're going to keep getting different answers. When somebody says to you, I'm not ready to work with an agent, what do they mean by work with an agent?
I don't want to be sold to.
Gene, I think you missed the point. We have a whole lot of things they could mean, everybody. How do you know which one it is? Hey, Penny?
I just think anytime they say no, they're just basically saying they don't know enough to commit to you. You haven't given them enough information, like you haven't provided them enough information to give them a reason.
That was beautiful. You're missing my point, everybody. Jeff, did you get the point?
I don't know. I wonder if you're pushing us towards it's a deflection.
Nope. What I'm trying to point out to you there, Emmanuel said, ask them what they mean. You don't know what they mean when they say work with an agent. That's my point. It means different things to different people. Okay. So let's just formulate a great question around it. All right. If they say, I'm not ready to work with an agent, you might ask,
What does that mean to you, working with an agent?
when you say work with an agent, what do you mean? Oh my God.
You just said it, yeah.
Like your brains are like an egg in a microwave right now. You're like, holy shit. Didn't even think of that one. I'm explaining a concept to you guys that a lot of times we assume what somebody means, what they're saying, okay? And in a lot of cases, you don't actually know. So just ask them. All right? You're going to find out from them. I mean, I'm not ready to look at houses. I mean, I'm not ready to buy something. I mean that I'm not, I have somebody else I want to talk to. I mean that, I was planning on interviewing agents 3 months from now. Whatever the hell the answer is. Okay, good. I'm glad I earned my shekels today, everybody. So I'm over time, but it was great seeing all of you guys. I hope that you got something out of this training. And like I said, Jaden, hopefully Jaden's there and dropped the link into the chat for you guys to be able to check out our spring training so that you can come in and you can pay to get punched in the face just like this so that you can learn how to take a punch in the real life, right? Right, Greg Ringer? I'm gonna pay for a punch in the face. That's the best way to learn. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Great seeing you guys. We'll be back again.
Thank you.